So आज हमारे पास एक if you're in Pakistan, अगर आप generally if you've been in Pakistan you would have heard his name. अगर आप especially मेरी उम्र के है तो आपने जरूर इनका नाम सुना होगा. It's been synonymous with photography for more than a decade, I would say. And generally I feel I wanted to call you is because I feel in a country like Pakistan, people pursuing passions like photography and all that is always something that makes me curious and interesting and making such a big name for themselves.
Yeah.
So yes, sir, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So firstly, तो सर मुझे जरा बताएं आपकी जर्नी स्टार्ट कैसे हुई and was it easy? Because I feel I'm sure at a time you started getting into photography. Tab photography wasn't, I don't know,
a taboo, almost a taboo tha. Almost it was almost a taboo.
बिल्कुल.
So
aspect पे भी और वैसे ही generally भी aspect पे.
Yeah. So and considering, are you with me still?
Yes. I'm voice.
I can't see. Achha, okay. So I went to HSN for my initial schooling. फिर उसके बाद I went to UET for my undergrad in civil engineering. Then I went to University of Texas, Austin for my master's in civil engineering, which was fully funded. So I was a very, very bright student. Like when I master's mein, I was a graduate research assistant. Okay. So I was paid $1,300 a month for living expense, and tuition was absolutely free. So I did my master's.
What time is this?
This is 2001 mein I went to UT Austin. Yeah. So 2001 से 3 तक मैंने masters किया. फिर 3 से till 11 I worked there as a civil engineer. So I was working in corporate America with several transportation and civil engineering bodies and consultants. So I got my PE license. यहाँ पे तो you can just complete your degree and start practicing engineering. वहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है. It's a standardized test. So how I put it is like अगर आपने UET से की है तो you're much better than somebody who's probably doing it from Khuzdar, right? So you really have to meet certain standard before you can actually start practicing. So I still maintain that license. Or while I was there, I was newly married 2004-5 mein, and so I picked up this as a hobby. वहाँ पे everybody has some hobby. कोई carpenter है, कोई likes to work on machines, कुछ है. So I picked this up as a hobby. शुरू से I won't say कि बचपन से ही शौक था, but yeah, I had this in me कि how to capture beauty. I was always mesmerized by beauty, whether it was natural beauty, female form, human form, just beauty in general. So I picked this up, started with landscape, birds. Wife was sick of it. She said, I don't want to be, out all day taking pictures. Ab jaye butterflies ke liye, whatever, just do whatever, just don't bug me. So I started with landscape, did some practice on her, etc., etc. And pictures started looking good. So my boss, he was getting married again. दूसरी दफा तो he said कि I don't want to invest too much. Why don't you take my pictures? I've seen your Flickr page. उस जमाने में Flickr का page बहुत Flickr was very yeah. So I've seen your Flickr pictures. So I did that. Pictures looked great. Then I invested in better gear, etc., etc. So it came to a point I was making more money from this as a hobby than from my day job, just on the weekends. So I knew okay, I have it in me. So when I moved back to Pakistan 2011, early 11, so I said, okay, let me try finding a job that can do justice to my skill because मैं यहाँ से Nestpark से job करता गया था. I was looking for a bigger challenge or bigger, package because it didn't make sense to go back to the same environment, same pay scale. So I didn't really find anything to my liking. So मैंने कहा चलो I should not eat into the dollars जो मैं लेके आया वहाँ से. Let's start with this. So I'd done the homework. I'd done the Google page rank. I was showing up in the Pakistani wedding photography. Engineer तो था ही. So I had worked the system. I had done my homework. YouTube channel मैंने 2005 में बना लिया था और उस पे मेरे pictures के slide show तब से चल रहे थे. It was great for my marketing. तो वो मैं जब आया, I already had orders and then one thing led to another. So here I am today. This is the journey. Lekin the biggest challenge was not really this. The biggest challenge was coming over the barriers, the mental barriers that I had set. The stigma, I won't call it stigma, but yeah, I mean, sort of stigma associated with doing something. उस ज़माने में तो photography वो करता था who couldn't do anything else with their lives. So even my mom said कि हमने लड़का engineer बना के भेजा scholarship पे और वो वहाँ से photographer बन के आ गया है. So everybody was like, my wife said, and she supported me वहाँ पे throughout, in photography. But यहाँ पे कहती I married an engineer, not a photographer, so I don't really want you to do this full time. You better, try your luck and, try, etc., etc. So it was really hard. HSN में हमारे बड़े snobbish दोस्त होते हैं, हर बैच में होते हैं इस तरह के. तो एक की शादी थी, मैंने कहा यार I don't want to cover your wedding. वहां पे फला XYZ भी होगा and I don't want to deal with them. तो कहता नहीं मैं ऐसे कर लूंगा, वो आपको पता है हर बैच में होते हैं, बड़े मिलने वाले. उस जमाने में पजेरोस वाले. तो मैंने कहा I don't want to deal with that BS, कहता नहीं I'll talk to him, खैर I was like taking pictures, so that guy came to me and मैंने कहा चलो, it's about to hit the fan. लेकिन he said कि चौधरी क्या हाल है तेरा. मैंने कहा यार ठीक हूँ. So I was sort of defensive. मैंने कहा यार I was like in the States masters करके मैं engineering कर रहा था. No, I'm just experimenting. कहता no, it doesn't matter what you do in life as long as you're the best in it, and you are. मैंने कहा wow, what a change, how people change over time. So that was like a breath of fresh air.
Certain points up, अगर आप मेहनत करते हैं ना सारे चुप हो ही जाते हैं.
Yeah. So they say let your success and hard work silence them. You don't need to make any noise. Your work, your passion, your commitment, that should make all the noise. Yeah. So that was it.
No, definitely. Okay, so what will be, and we'll go to some other questions too, and definitely as for stigma, I think बहुत change हो गया है. There was a time exactly wedding photography had a stigma attached to it, but now you see a lot of these young people, propping up and taking this full on.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that as well. But firstly, just tell me a little, what are some of the crazy wedding? What is some of the craziest wedding you've had to cover in terms of, I don't know, money and sure, everything?
Yeah, I mean, most of the weddings that we cover are crazy.
शादियां बहुत होती हैं और हर तरह की होती हैं.
Yeah. So यहाँ पे, I mean, bartenders भी जो हैं टर्की से आते हैं, waitresses भी टर्की से आती हैं. I don't want to get into the details, but yeah, when people splurge, they go all out. It's just like a statement कि हमने इरफान हसन को hire किया है, हमने waiters टर्की से मंगाए हैं. It's a bragging right. तो बड़ा कुछ होता है यहाँ पे, but of course you can't name and you
can't name.
It's my business, yeah. So
no,
I would rather people lay on it.
But also my other would be now, you personally, was wedding photography always the aim, or is something other photography you went to? Because you said nature and all that. So I was very curious about that.
This is just a way to make money for me, nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, this is not my passion. I mean, my wife would say, why are you being so politically incorrect? Why are you trying to hurt your business? But no, wedding photography is not my passion. Is portraits, street photography, nature photography, capturing the essence of the person, like Khan Saab ki portrait maine ki, usme his personality. How did that happen?
How did that feel generally, and how did
it felt great. Last week I did PM Shehbaz Sharif ki portrait. Okay. So now I'm sort of a political photographer, but I like to call myself a political photographer. But it feels great, when the jo bhi PM aa raha hai, one after the other, they're choosing me. So that is what I really want to do. You take a portrait of a person, that stays for the ages, for the posterity. Wedding bhi theek hai, so it's the cash cow, but I really don't want to be covering weddings anymore. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. So it is. Yeah. Okay, it's interesting you mentioned that. So there is a plan for you, maybe, I'm guessing you could phase out weddings, or maybe you'd...
No, not phase out, but kind of, back off a little bit personally. And let the team work, but maybe I can focus on more of these, portraits and street photography, and maybe come up with a book sometime, a pictorial, editorial, something like that. Yeah.
अच्छा सर, मेरा एक ये सवाल है, अब बड़े जो अब आए हैं ये मैं कहूँगा लास्ट 5-6 years में, ये बड़े young photographers who have these Instagram pages, मतलब फोन से भी लोगों ने photography की, and they made a name for themselves.
Yeah.
And there's always been, मैंने देखा जैसे ये मैंने art की field में भी बड़ा वो किया था कि बड़े मशहूर artists, and respect to everyone, right? They maybe started the field and everything. उनको बड़ा मसला होता है जो NFT बनाते हैं अब, या वो जो digital art करते हैं. So क्या photography में भी एक ऐसा rift है between traditional photographers who have who are the pioneers of it, और अब जो ये नए बच्चे आ रहे हैं, and I'm sure this does saturate the market in some way.
I'll tell you, when you talk about saturation, जब मैं आ रहा था पाकिस्तान, so I approached a very famous, fashion designer through some contact. तो मैंने कहा, I want to come back to Pakistan and do this. So he had told me in 2011-10 के end में कि, market is very saturated. ठीक है? Had I listened to him, I wouldn't be here, right? So the market is always saturated, but there is always room at the top. That's the answer.
Okay. So I'm guessing for you, but also as somebody, as a pioneer of traditional photography, do you think it's good जो ये नई age आ रही है? I personally feel, it's new ways are being discovered. Because photography has changed now as well, right? Now everyone with a phone technically वो अपने को photographer कहता है. तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा आपकी क्या definition होगी photography की maybe?
देखिए, when we started photography digital, we were looked down upon by the traditional photographers. वो कहते थे यार इनको तो negatively develop करना आता, ये कहाँ के photographer हैं, right? और digital ना होती तो मैं photographer ना होता. अब mirrorless ना आता तो 15,000 photographers और ना होते. But मेरी नजर में photographer वो है who knows light. Photography is all about light. So if you don't know how to control light, if you just show up at an event with just a wide-angle lens and a mirrorless, and pictures suck because the lighting was bad at the event, or आप client को कह रहे हैं कि आपके event पे lighting बड़ी गंदी थी, तो I couldn't do anything, you're not a photographer. So मेरी नजर में photographer वो है who knows how to manage the light, mitigate bad lighting conditions. That's what otherwise button तो phone पे भी दब जाता है और mirrorless पे भी दब जाता है.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah.
And generally, do you think, मतलब then now, especially now, it seems कि photography के अब बड़े young उसमें जा रहे हैं. So do you feel this can now be is something as a career choice can be taken like as a serious career choice as well to get into?
Why not? I mean, I would give my example. I'd say 11 years ago. I mean, it's not कि मेरे पास education नहीं थी. I mean, I was working as a professional engineer, so I made this switch, deliberate switch. It wasn't forced upon me. So if I can make that switch with all these, foreign education and everything, so why not today? जो भी BNU में से, LSE में से, UET में से जो भी निकले, yes, it's a viable career. But yes, you have to be really, really good to make a name for yourself now.
बिल्कुल. And what
I entered the market जब there was a whole vacuum था यहाँ पे. Nobody was doing what I was doing. I was doing outdoor shoots. America में I had that blurred background effect, all these hi-fi lenses, etc. जो यहाँ पे किसी के पास और very, very few people had it. So I made that entry सोच समझ के. Now everybody has a mobile, everybody has a mirrorless. So to be really, really good, to really stand out, you have to be extremely good.
And that's my question. What is so? बड़ा ना ये बात अब बड़ी कही जाती है, and especially with the new photographers and stuff. यार, what is really good? क्या really good is to have good contacts and be able to capture good weddings, like or really good is actually a skill. Because मैं skill पे इसलिए confused थोड़ा होता हूँ कि you had it, these cameras और कुछ we can justify the skill, but now बड़ा मुश्किल है जब आप एक जैसे इस कैमरे से अगर आप पिक्चर लें या even if you take from a DSLR whatever, when it gets uploaded on Instagram, वो resolution तो transfer वैसे ही नहीं हो सकती.
Yeah. So now it's mostly about networking and people skills. You have to be really outgoing. You have to, suck up to a lot of bloggers. You have to, suck up to a lot of, hi-fi, hoity-toity, ladies. And so this is what is happening. Mera ye hai ki I've been there, seen this, done that. So with the newer generation, they can afford to. I'll give you an example. I did a wedding 2013 or 12 mein, she's a good friend now. And then I did a brother's wedding. He said, no, Irfan, what you did in 2013 mein, you 16 mein, 17 mein, you didn't do that at my brother's wedding. You didn't do justice. मैंने कहा देखो 13 में I was a nobody. I did not really care कि कोई मुझे notice कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ to get that shot. अब मैं जब जाता हूँ event में मुझे पता है कि 100 में से 10 लोग तो मुझे देख रहे होते हैं. So I have to make sure कि I am not caught in an awkward pose, etc. And I have to keep my rakh rakhaw and I have to maintain a certain propriety. So I'm like I am not going to do it. ये जो सब कुछ आजकल चल रहा है, extreme level की networking is great, but then there are other things, that are happening which I would rather not mention here. So इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि यार ठीक है, अल्लाह का शुक्र है, what I've done, I've achieved. I mean, being a pioneer, nobody can really take that away from you. It's good to see all these young photographers doing a great job, or whatever it takes for them to make a mark, more power to them. But it's not for me, जो आजकल चल रहा है. आजकल क्या चल रहा है, जहां अच्छी शादी होगी वहां पे आप फ्री में घुस जाएंगे.
Okay.
आप अब एक फीमेल फोटोग्राफर है, मैं उसका नाम नहीं लूंगा. We were doing a wedding and all of a sudden she showed up and हमने अभी क्लाइंट को डेटा भी नहीं दिया था और उन्होंने अगले दिन जो है ना हाईलाइट भी जो है ना लड़की की रुखसती की अपलोड भी कर दी हुई थी और क्लाइंट हमसे पूछा था ये कौन है, ये कहाँ से है. तो देन वी चेक, वो जी आई वाज देयर फ्रॉम द डिजाइनर, मुझे डिजाइनर ने हायर किया हुआ था कि जाओ कवर द गेस्ट जिन्होंने मेरे कपड़े पहने हैं. So this is what is happening, and just because she was a female, nobody asked her कि तुम कहाँ से आई हो. उन्होंने कहा शायद इरफान की टीम हो, शायद opposing team हो. So this is what is happening, and it's rampant.
And I'm guessing, what do you think is
and now by the way, that same photographer, now they interview what designer you're wearing, who's the jeweler, who's doing the decor. So this is the strategy. This is how people use the stepping stones and they climb the social ladder, and then it goes to the head.
What would be your advice then for these newcomers, and according to you, what would be the right way to make it in photography?
Be social media savvy. Be social media savvy. You should know how to network without losing your dignity. And I'll give you an example. मैं वहाँ पे था अमेरिका में, तो I posted an ad on Craigslist because I was a newbie. Craigslist is like OLX. तो उस पे एक बंदी ने $600 का पोर्ट्रेट सेशन डाला हुआ था, मैंने $50 का डाला हुआ था. And कोई बात, I think we met on some forum and I said, why are you charging so much? कहती, this is what I think I am worth. This is what I think my time's worth. Anybody who's willing to pay that, fine. मैंने इससे कम काम नहीं करना. तो यहाँ पे you should put a value to your craft, to your name, to your integrity. I mean, you have, when I go to an event, when I book an event, I see what legacy I have. I am an HSonian. I went to UET. I went to University of Texas, Austin. All that is part of me. All that comes to the table when they hire me. So I do things which try to be, sort of do justice to my background. And I would say put a value to your name, integrity, dignity, craft, and then book an event. Just don't go, okay, your free event hai, it's a big event, I'll be seen there covering an event along with XYZ, तो लोगों को मैं कहूंगी कि और कहूंगा कि मेरा event है. So I would say know your camera, work hard, be true to your craft. And I would say I'm not the best, but I'm still one of the most hardworking photographers. So these are the key to success. It's a mix.
No, thank you so much, sir, for taking our time at this
my pleasure.
time, especially. And good luck with everything. And
thank you.
Yeah, it was great having you.
All right, take care. Likewise.
Khuda Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz.